I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. A family friend. This is Frank.
I turned on this. I remember.
Are we good, Allison?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Wait for DP.
Sorry, everybody.
But still,
No rush.
that surprised me.
Here. You good? We good, Allison?
Yes.
All right. Call the regular village board meeting for January 20th to order at 6:01. Please rise and join me in the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Need your roll call, please.
Trustee Howe.
Here.
Trustee Shaw.
Here.
Trustee Strauss. Here. Trustee Stein.
Here.
Trustee Gary.
Here.
Trustee Brown is absent tonight.
Thank you all. Any public comment?
No.
Now we'll go on to consent agenda. Will you please read the consent agenda?
Absolutely. Item A, approval of the minutes of January 6, 2026, regular village board meeting. Item B, approval of the minutes of January 13th, 2026, special village board meeting. Item C, approval of a resolution approving change order number 2 and pay application number 6 with B3 for the Banks Lake Outfall Project. Item D, approval of the bills for payment from December 27th, 2025 to January 9th, 2026 in the amount of $1,640,939.44. Item E, approval of a resolution declaring certain personal property of the village of Wauconda to be surplus property. Item F, approval of a resolution designating certain special events as community events for the special event policy. And item G, approval of a resolution authorizing the extension of a contract with Advanced Tree Care Incorporated for 2026 brush pickup.
Thank you. Any items to be removed or moved off consent agenda? Hearing none, any questions on any of the items on consent agenda? Hearing none, make a motion and a second to approve the consideration of the consent agenda and approve items A through G on the consent agenda by ominous vote.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Howe.
Yes.
Trustee Shaw.
Yes.
Trustee Strauss.
Yes.
Trustee Stein.
Yes.
And Trustee Gary.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion does carry on to new business. Item A, consideration and approval of an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for planned unit development in the petition of the Wauconda Park District for the property located at 223 East Liberty Street, Marina Improvements. Director Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Board. The Wauconda Park District is requesting that the village consider a conditional use permit for improvements to their marina on Banks Lake on Route 176 adjacent to Doc's Bar and Grill. The improvements include paving the entry and parking area, removal of 3 buildings, adding a picnic shelter, retaining walls, a boardwalk along the lake, kayak launch, and installing native landscaping, among other things. The petitioner is seeking a conditional use permit to authorize a planned unit development to proceed with the proposed project. I'd like to introduce Timothy Stanton, Executive Director of Wauconda Park District, to make any comments, but more so to introduce his team and make a presentation regarding their application. Tim?
Hello? Is this on? Does it work? We can hear it. You can hear it? You can hear me? Okay. My name is Tim Staten. I'm the Executive Director of the Wauconda Park District. I just wanted to take a quick moment, thank the Village of Wauconda Board for your consideration of our Banks Lake Marina project. I brought with me tonight Lacey Lawrence from Hitchcock Design Group and Kevin Burke from Featherstone Incorporated. Lacey's firm has done a lot of the design work for the renovations, helped us with an OSLOD grant from the state of Illinois, and is overseeing those aspects of the project. And Kevin's firm, Featherstone, is going to oversee the construction management, budgeting, and timeline things. So with that being said, I'd like to have Lacey come up. She's going to run through a quick slideshow for you, just give you a general overview of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Brief agenda. So Tim kind of covered a little bit of the background information about the site. We'll go through a bit of the existing conditions. We'll review the master plan. As Tim said, we applied for a grant from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, their Open Space Land Acquisition and Development Grant. That was awarded, and as part of that process, we did some community engagement as well to kind of land on the final master plan that was submitted for the grant award. Then we'll go through the site plan. So we've had some refinements as we've started design and engineering. So we'll go through some of those changes and then open it up to any questions. All right, so the property the Park District acquired back in 2022 and looking to kind of redevelop that property as a public park. So it currently has marina slips, it has a bait shop, it has a storage building, and it has 3 other buildings that were apartments or the sign shop. And so as part of this project, we're planning to demo at least 3 of those buildings, the sign shop that's right along the main street, and then the 2 apartment buildings, and then the bait shop and the storage building will remain. And then kind of repurpose some of that open space into parkland and put in some of the approved recreation amenities that were awarded the grant. And I'll go through those in detail. From the existing conditions, site photos. So again, the property is a little under an acre, currently zoned commercial recreation. Floodplain is present, but no floodway. There is Army Corps regulated water, which is the Bangs Lake. That's it. There's no adjacent wetlands or fringe wetlands associated with the project. Again, I already mentioned the buildings on site, and the project also proposes to widen the existing entry drive. As we go through some of the pictures, you'll see it's just a very narrow, 1-lane wide entry drive to kind of get down to the lower portion of the site. There'll be a new kind of park entry sign, additional refinements to the parking that's out there now, renovation to the existing boat launch in place, and then some additional like kayak and canoe launch that will now be accessible rather than just launching from the beach. So it gives diversity and opportunity to be able to launch accessibly there. And then we'll go through some of the other sites, which is the shelter, the bag toss game, and the game tables. Here is our topographic existing conditions, and it's probably kind of hard to read, but we'll go through some of the site photos. Here's the aerial, Main Street up there, not Main Street, but the main road, Liberty, yeah, is one, as you can see. There we go, on there, one. And so here's the current access drive, again, just a single lane road that gets you down into the lower area and to the adjacent property, which is docks. We have the 3 buildings that we were talking about demoing, which is the existing one, number 2, which is the sign shop, number 5, which is an apartment building, and number 4, an apartment building. And then the buildings to remain is number 8 here, which is the bait shop, and then the long building number 9, which is the maintenance storage building. And as we mentioned, we have 3 piers. As part of this project, there's going to be no renovations or anything to those. Those are staying in place. So here's along Liberty. As you can see, this is our current main entrance, just a single lane road with kind of limited angles, view site triangles there with the building. So this will come down, and we're planning to widen this to a 2-lane, 1 in, 1 out entry. And this is the existing park sign, so that will come down, and we'll have a brand new park sign that'll match the aesthetic at Community Urban. It'll be a digital entry sign. Existing building, kind of adjacent property view, and the other buildings, so we'll be coming down. There is some significant grade change at this site, from the upper tier all the way down to the lake, so we'll be managing that again with some retaining wall and grading that you'll see. But really nice views, I guess, if you're up at the very top out to the lake, if you're up there. Maintenance building, bait shop, both in remaining. Here's the existing dumpster, and then we have gasoline as well. So as part of the project, we'll be renovating the enclosures, so all new fencing, screening. Existing piers that will stay. This is the existing boat launch, so this will be completely renovated. So it'll be taken out and all new, exactly in the same location. This is the existing beach. So the existing beach will remain. That's currently where they launch kayaks and canoes. But again, right adjacent to this boardwalk here on the other side that you can't see in the picture, that will be where our accessible floating kayak and canoe launch will be. And so we developed a master plan that was back in 2024, I think, and applied for the grant. So we were awarded in 2025. And so as part of that process, again, as I mentioned, we did a community open house, invited members of the residents community to come out and provide their feedback. Great turnout at that event. So that led to some revisions to the site plan that was ultimately presented to IDNR and was awarded the grant this year. I'll go through this in detail closer up, but this is the overall. So again, Liberty is here, the water is kind of up here. Starting down by the water, so again, to kind of orient, 2 is the existing bait shop, 1 is the existing storage building here, and here's the beach. So again, we're keeping all the piers that are numbered 3. There's one kind of off to the side here, but still on the property. This is the existing boat launch that we'll be renovating in place. The enclosures for the refuge and the gasoline that will be renovated. We have kind of a connecting walk that will be stamped concrete that will provide you access along the lake. 11 is kind of an overlook area. It will just be some limestone outcropping stones and a swing bench area so you could kind of sit and observe the lake from that point. And then we have refinements to the existing parking. So we have 3 stalls here that are parallel, 4 stalls perpendicular here. There's currently parking that's here now in both those spots. And then more refinement to the parking over here. So an additional 3 there, an additional 5 here. And moving up to the top tier, this is where most of the renovations are going to be occurring. So again, as I mentioned, we'll be widening the entry to it 1 in and 1 out. So 24-foot wide lane. 13 is our new park entry sign that'll be here. And then we're renovating the upper tier parking. So there is parking up here currently, but we're refining that, obviously, and have defined spaces, have an accessible space here, and we did have an accessible space at the lower tier as well. And then up here is kind of where our recreation amenities are. Taking opportunity for the nice vista is number 16 is our picnic shelter. So it's just an open air shelter, kind of similar to Phil's, but just a square steel framing, steel roof. And then we have 15, which is our sunning steps. So they're just concrete, long steps that you can kind of sit as well and observe. 17 off to the side are our game tables, or it could also be used as just group seating areas. And then 18 is our concrete bag toss game. So this is also at Phil's Beach, so it'll be the same style as that. And then 14 is our connection from the upper tier to the lower tier, pedestrian connection. So these will be sets of stairs and handrails, so it won't be an accessible ramp. So the accessible opportunity is either coming through parking here or parking at the lower end. We're also connecting into the existing walk 19. It kind of terminates right now at the property, but we're kind of bringing that into our site. So that way if you're walking from downtown or walking from here to downtown, you have a pathway to get you there. And obviously a bunch of landscaping to kind of buffer and screen the parking lot. The hill, so this doesn't show the contours, but it's basically a 4-to-1 slope all the way down. We'll have some landscaping and some opportunities for some open lawn space. Same along the lake, We're gonna do some native plantings along the shoreline to help filter and treat runoff before it goes into the lake. So this is our refined site plan. I think most everything is still effectively the same as presented in the rendered site plan. Again, the only major refinements have been to the retaining wall. So we will have, cheek walls along the stairs, but we do have a longer retaining wall that's going along the side. This actual retaining wall has been removed as of late, so that one is gone. But just to kind of help retain the grade as we're stepping down with the stairs to get us down and have access to the south. Here is our grading plan. So again, we are proposing some inlet structures in the parking area just to try to capture and treat the water. There's none there currently, so we're at least trying to capture the water that we can and treat it before it does enter the lake. And you can see all the contours kind of here stacking up. Kind of review the planting plan. Some photos of some of the proposed amenities. Again, the bag toss game. You can see this at Phil's. This is kind of our open air shelter, all steel. Our sunning steps that are just cast concrete. Game tables. So these are also at Phil's Beach. Our floating accessible kayak and canoe launch. And then the stamped kind of boardwalk concrete sidewalk that we have. Any questions? I can go through all these, but I think you have the form that we filled out with everything.
Is there a fence going around the recreation area? Because is it a downslope of the entrance, and then is like this all built up, or is it going to go downslope? That whole section there. Yeah.
This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going downslope. The retaining wall will be there.
So it's going to be built up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you're going to be going down quicker as if you're on the road, and then the wall will end up being 7 foot at the bottom. We'll start out at like 1 and kind of transition as you're going down the hill. And so there will be some fencing on the top whenever we exceed the 30 inches.
So what kind of conversations have you guys had with docks to mitigate impact on their business during the course of the summer months when construction is going to be going on?
Yeah, Tim has met with docks, the adjacent property, so they are aware of the site, and we are going to maintain access to the lower level. Obviously, their access drive is here, so the only way to really get there is they have a secondary entrance, so they can come in through and get there too. The intent is to make sure that they have access to their site during construction. There might be some small temporary shutdowns when we finally get to the actual widening part that we'll have to coordinate them coming in the secondary entrance just while that's under construction.
And I imagine that will also impact people's access to the launch area and so forth.
Correct.
And you guys are going to work to make sure that's minimal and publicized so that people don't pull up and go, wait a minute, I can't get to my boat.
To the best that we can, yes. Try to get out to as many people as we can, especially the slip over.
And will there be any interruptions in availability of fuel service at the marina while this is going on?
I'm sure that there will be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will
That
also
will be communicated to the public
communicated as well. I
Yes.
won't be going there to get gas in my boat and go, oh crap, my tank's empty. Nothing I can do.
We'll have a shuttle service. We'll have to take your cans to
I'll cycle it on the police boat.
You have police park for us.
And then I saw in the ZBA minutes that you're looking at fall completion.
Fall completions.
And then what are we going to do to make sure that you guys meet that deadline? Because both with the bank demolition, we've seen a lot of delays with that, circumstances beyond our control. Osage Park took a year longer than you guys had thought it was going to take. I don't want to see this dragging out, especially for something right on Liberty and with all the use that this area gets. What assurances do we have that you guys are going to actually meet this deadline?
So that's why I believe Featherstone, we're a construction manager as advisor. So we are not a general contractor, so we are an extension of the park district. So we manage all the trade contracts, which would be demolition, concrete, asphalt, but they're contractually obligated to meet the dates, and they're contracted directly with the park district. So our benefit, or our whole reason being involved in this job, is to meet the scheduled deadlines for this project. And we're already on top of that by going out early for bidding purposes. We just received bids on the early demolition package, so we could start here at the end of February. Once we complete that, we're gonna be able to start construction, weather granting, right away, because we're gonna be going out for bid for all the remaining work this upcoming month as well. So we're trying to get all of the, let's call it, challenges up front, so when the season allows us to construct, we get it done right away.
What's the projected date to start the launch itself replacement?
The launch replacement itself, I believe, we're starting construction on we're starting demolition, I believe, is right the 1st of March, and I think that construction of the launch was in June. But don't hold me to that, I think it was the start of June.
So it's unlikely that that launch will be available for the spring season? So we'll have to make, people who generally launch there will have to make other arrangements, either at Beach Park or Lindy's or something like
Right,
that?
we'll communicate an alternative plan.
Okay. Not that it was very
We
usable.
haven't
Yeah.
completed that yet, but that's
Okay.
something that we're working on now, is
Yep.
an alternative plan so that we can get people out.
Okay, great.
Because we're about to receive the final 100% drawings from the design team, and what we're going to do is put together a logistics plan for the park district to obviously distribute to users, the city, whomever it be, that shows, hey, this is when areas are going to be shut down, this is where construction access is going to be allowed, etc. So we're going to put together a full phase logistics plan that will be available for the public.
Yeah, I recommend that you guys communicate that to Lindy's as well, because they're gonna see a lot more launch traffic, as is the Beach Park Road, gonna see a lot more launch traffic, because that's, not only do a lot of the people from Beach Park launch there, just because it's easier to get in and out, but also all the boats that are at the Thames Lake Marina use that launch as well to put their boats in late April, early May. So just want to make sure that there's plans in place for that.
Working on those.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
How are you going to protect the shoreline and debris from going into the lake?
Yeah, so we have a civil on our team as well, and so they're preparing a soil erosion and sediment control plan that'll help protect the lake. Obviously, there'll be silt fence, floating curtain. We even have like cofferdams, especially when we're going to be demoing the boat launch, dewatering, and treatment. And so all that goes through the permitting process as well and gets reviewed.
And
If you
where-
find my sunglasses when you're...
You need all of our sunglasses?
And where are you at with the
I've been
permitting?
wearing them for a year.
Say it again, sorry.
Where are you at with the permitting?
With permitting, we are looking to submit for IDOT coming up this week. And so that's probably when referring to schedule potentially out of our hands, is IDOT's been notoriously long with their permitting process, and we are asking to widen and close down some entry points. So that would probably be the biggest question, is just their permitting timeline. Army Corps, what we're permitting is a maintenance replacement, and so it doesn't require notification.
Okay.
We will prepare all of the documents to support what we're doing and how it complies permit related, but we don't necessarily need to notify them of it because we're in compliance just by replacing in kind. We've already had our pre-application with Lake County, so they're fully aware of the project and support the approach. So
All right, thank you.
Greg, they've already got the demo permit.
we're going to be applying for
Submitted.
Well,
that.
They still have to apply.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just had the bid opening last Thursday,
Okay.
so we're going to have you applying for that here in the next few weeks.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Looking forward to completion of this project. It's much needed, and it's going to really look nice. I'm confident that at the end it'll be a good job.
Those apartments are empty, right?
They are. Yeah.
I think they have been for a while.
They have been for a while. Yeah.
The apartments have been empty.
The apartments were vacated. We bought the property in February 2022, and I think the last tenant left in August.
Okay.
And I'm not sure they would have passed habitability at that point had we gotten the permits.
Are there any further questions? Hearing none, may I get a motion and a second to approve item A on the new business? So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Trustee Howe?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Strauss?
Yes.
Trustee Stein?
Yes.
Trustee Garrett?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion does carry. Thank you, guys. Great presentation.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
And item B, consideration and approval of an ordinance granting a conditional use permit for the property commonly known as 109 South Main Street, Suite B, Wauconda, on the petition of Michelle Serafi, DBA The Seller. Director Anderson.
The applicant, tenant, business owner, Michelle Serafi, will be known as Seller 109, is requesting that the village consider a conditional use permit for 109 South Main Street, the Suite B, lower level beneath the Relationship Center. The proposal includes operating a speakeasy-inspired event space and nightclub with live music, catered food, and craft cocktails and drinks. Petitioner is therefore seeking the CUP to authorize a tavern nightclub as required in section 155.022, table 1 of the zoning code and section 155.095. The ZBA PC held a public hearing on January 7, 2026 and was unanimous in recommending approval of conditional use permit. Village administration hereby recommends that the village board of trustees approve the ordinance authorizing conditional use permit for the Seller 109 South Main Street, Suite B. And Michelle is here this evening with her group and can answer any questions that you may have.
Terrific. Any questions?
The only question I have is how are you guys managing handicap accessibility? Because I know that it's obviously it's a basement, so.
We have a ramp in the back. There's a ramp that goes down into a back door, so we have
okay.
a side door and back door, it's a full ramp.
Awesome.
Bathrooms are accessible as well.
Cool. Okay, and that I'm guessing that will be also the additional exit.
Yes.
Cool. That's great.
It was built about 2 or 3 years after I started.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious. Thank you.
When do you plan on opening?
March, as soon as possible.
Excellent. Any further questions? No. Hearing none, may I get a motion and a second to approve item B under new business?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hall?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Strauss?
Yes.
Trustee Stein?
Yes.
Trustee Gary?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion does carry. Thank you. And to item C, consideration and approval of an ordinance rezoning property known as 406 Morningstar Lane, Wauconda, from the Central Business District to the Residential R4 District and amending ordinance 2017-0-05, conditional use permit for planned unit development and a petition of Morningstar Holdings, LLC via Jacob Bomberg. Director Anderson.
Good evening. This is a 4-part approval under one ordinance of Morningstar Landings Development on North Main Street and Morningstar Lane. Part 1 is a zoning map amendment or rezoning of Lot 7 from the Central Business District to the Residential R4 District to allow for the construction of a single-family home. Part 2 is the amendment of the conditional use permit for planned unit development to allow for a single-family residential home to be built on Lot 7 within the Morningstar Landings development. The setbacks, lot coverage, lot area, and other residential building requirements contained within the approved planned unit development contained in ordinance 2017-005 will be utilized by the developer. Part 3, final plat of subdivision for Phase 2, which addresses all of the dimensional requirements for the proposed Lot 7 and as required by the subdivision regulations, Chapter 154 of the Village Code. Part 4 was the final engineering for Phase 2, which addresses the preliminary requirements for water, sanitary, stormwater, street curb and gutter required by the development ordinance, Chapter 155 of the Village Code. They were all preliminary platted at one time and were final platting and final engineering at one time. The recommended action by the village administration based upon items that were reduced and eliminated by the applicant. The administration supports the items of change under the PUD guidelines and other items of change in the plan shown in the administrative report. What I'd like to do at this time is we can turn over for a brief introduction, comments from the applicant's engineer, Dan Bannock, and unless you have any questions of myself.
Hi, I'm Dan Bannock, representing Jay Bomberg, who couldn't be here tonight. It's just as described, we're rezoning Lot 7 from commercial to residential, which Jay believes will be easier to develop and sell, and fits well with the surrounding properties.
Are you gonna pave that whole area before you construct that, or after?
Water main will be constructed first, and then the roadway,
Okay.
and the houses will be constructed as they are sold.
So that is a yes, they're gonna pave it?
Yes.
Okay.
Curb and gutter.
Any further questions?
No?
All right, great. Hearing none, may I get a motion and a second to approve item C under new business?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Howe?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Strauss?
Yes.
Trustee Stein?
Yes.
Trustee Gary?
Yes.
Thank you, motion does carry. On to item D. Gina, you need to read item D.
Yes, I do. This is going to be consideration and approval of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of waterworks and sewerage revenue bonds of the Village of Wauconda, Lake County, Illinois, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $6,600,000, or in lieu thereof, general obligation bonds, alternative revenue source, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $6,600,000 for the purpose of paying the costs of improving the waterworks and sewerage system of the village.
Thank you. Director McManus.
Yes, good evening. Essentially, what we're looking at is how we're trying to fund some of the future water and wastewater improvements that we have. We don't have a large amount of reserves sitting around, so we pretty much have to finance anything that needs to be done going forward in the near future. We have two significant projects out there. One is a wastewater treatment plant rehabilitation and upgrade that's required by regulations sometime in 2032 or something like that. I want to say, and that one's rather large. And in addition to that, we have several lift stations that need significant repairs and rehabilitation as well, because they're causing safety issues and could have problems. Originally, staff was looking at packaging them all together for a bill of over $35 million and trying to use IEPA funding. However, since then, we reported to the board at the village services meeting, staff is now considering taking the wastewater treatment plant, using the IEPA funding for that, and looking at using a nutrient trading program through the state to try to bring that project cost down and take a little more time on that. In the meantime, we have the struggle with the remaining lift stations, two of which, number 5 and number 4, need significant repairs. This is a bond issue that you will be authorizing tonight for us to take on for those repairs. We have estimated the cost somewhere between 5.8 and 6.6 million. It's out for bid right now. I think the bids are due probably within a week or so. So we will have a final cost, which will be slotted back into the final bond when it is finally issued. But this is your final authorization for the bond issue as a total to take on these projects.
Thank you. Any questions?
These are revenue bonds. Ideally, they're going to be revenue bonds.
They are revenue bonds.
And what's the projected impact on water sewer rates?
We did do a water rate study. Unfortunately, the water rate study cannot ignore the wastewater treatment plant, which is still projected to be $30 million, because now we've pushed it out and it's gained some more cost. So we're looking at, in the most current year, a 9.5% projection. A couple years where it's high, but then it's going to fall probably closer to near 4 or 5% for a series of years thereafter.
This is already baked into the approvals that we've already, the increases we've already talked about.
That is correct.
Okay, I wasn't sure if this was included in the numbers.
Yes,
baked in
it
numbers.
is.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, may I get a motion and a second to approve item D under new business?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Howe?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Strauss?
Yes.
Trustee Stein?
Yes.
And Trustee Gary?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion does carry. On to item E, consideration and approval of an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 155, Sections 155.002, definitions, and 155.002, principal permitted, conditional, and temporary use of the Wauconda Code of Ordinance pertaining to personal services, businesses, and establishments. Director Anderson.
Good evening again. The village's petitioner is requesting a zoning code text amendment to co-lease wellness spas and several other personal services into a category called personal services, businesses, and establishments. Instead of listing each service individually, this would incorporate businesses such as beauty shops, barber shops, nail salons, tattoo parlors, and tanning salons, and other establishments, such as animal groomers, dry cleaners, personal trainers, massage therapists, and tailors. Additionally, this classification could be further expanded to include uses such as shoe repair, electronic repairs, house cleaning, and personal shopping. Staff is also recommending that massage parlors, massage uses not affiliated with physical therapy, chiropractic, beauty salons, etc., be separately defined and permitted as a conditional use in the general business and limited industrial districts, removing them as a use from the central business and retail business district areas. The Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals held the required public hearings on November 19th and continued those meetings through several Plan Commission public hearings. Attached is a text amendment ordinance. The ordinance was then reviewed by the Village Services Committee on January 6th and recommended for approval. Village Administration recommends the Village Board of Trustees approve the attached text amendment to the affected chapters, sections or subsections that include 155.22 and 155.022 of the zoning code pertaining to personal services, businesses, and massage services establishments. And with that, I'll entertain any questions.
This will save time for your department.
Immense amount of time and interpretation.
Okay.
Is there a reason that we're putting the massage services in a separate category? I mean, even ones that maybe you might not derobe?
We were separating them out so that we could regulate them differently.
I know there's like a lot of foot massage places, and also I know like when you're saying day spas, a lot of these places, the manicure, pedicure, nail salon places also do the foot,
Right.
you know,
They're licensed and
reflexology.
registered. We want to make sure that everybody gets licensed and registered as well.
So that's just my only question is what's the difference between a place that might do massage services that you don't have to take off your clothes for?
I think I can help here.
Okay.
Under the definition, it says including but not limited to, and those are just examples, so I think that could be considered like a pedicure spa can be considered a massage service establishment. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Well, it wouldn't be a massage service establishment that requires a conditional use permit because it would be affiliated with that sort of use, a use that's allowed under a personal services establishment.
So as long as you don't
or as
take
part
off
of part of a therapy. That's my understanding. Is if it's part of a therapy or some other sort of like professional use, then it doesn't require the conditional use permit.
Correct.
They're already regulated by the IDFPR.
And our other codes regarding massage,
We've got a full
massage
chapter.
establishments.
They have to be licensed by the state.
Yeah.
Right.
We've got a full chapter on massage.
Okay, and what the differences are with the
By
massage and
definition, so on and so
derobing and not derobing. That was my only question, because I know a lot of places might do like a little shoulder massage and, you know, when you're getting your pedicure, and that's my question, you know.
Yeah, if it's affiliated with that, my reading of this is that it doesn't require a conditional use permit. But if it were like just a pure massage service establishment unaffiliated with a therapy type use, then it is, or a beauty service type use, then it would require a conditional use permit, which it currently does.
It currently does.
Okay.
If it's standalone, is what we were more so going after.
Okay, all right, that was just my question.
Any further questions? Hearing none, may I get a motion and a second to approve item E under new business?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Howe?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Strauss?
Yes.
Trustee Stein?
Yes.
And Trustee Garrett?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion does carry. On to item F. Consideration and approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 96, Title 11 of the Wauconda Code of Ordinances concerning animals. Chief Ormus.
Good evening, Mayor and Village Board. Responding to animal-related calls within our village is commonplace. From January 1st, 2024 through October 2025, the Wauconda Police Department responded to 535 animal-related calls and 22 dog bites. After approximately 6 months of review, research, and discussion, we presented this draft ordinance on January 6th to the Village Services Committee. Following a lengthy discussion, the Village Services Committee approved the ordinance to be presented at tonight's board meeting. We are requesting an amendment to our current animal ordinance to include updated guidance and language regarding animal bites, dangerous and vicious dogs, dogs at large, and animal impoundment procedures. Some sections of this ordinance have not been updated since 1977. The ordinance amendment presented to the Village Board tonight encompasses the necessary language to provide adequate enforcement and documentation procedures to help ensure the safety of our residents. Village staff and the Wauconda Police Department recommend approval of the Wauconda Code of Ordinances concerning animals, Chapter 96. We have any questions?
I've a couple. So I obviously have not looked at probably this ordinance, and that's probably on me. I definitely like us adding in a lot of the stuff about the dog bites, because I know that has definitely been a huge problem. But I think I'm just wanting to ask some questions on probably some things that don't have to do with the dog bites. So like the ordinance, the section 96.05 on noises, the 1 or more minutes just kind of concerns me, because 60 seconds is kind of a short period of time.
That's already in the code.
I know, and that's what I was probably assuming it was. I think a lot of this stuff was already in there, so that's just kind of when I'm curious, are we just voting on the additional stuff, or are we voting on everything that's already been in there?
Well, the only thing that's changed, so that would still be in there. The only thing that changed is the number, because I had to add other provisions in. So yeah, that would still be there.
So that's my question. Am I giving my okay on just the additions? Because I'm not quite okay on some of probably the stuff that's currently in there. Is a little.
Yeah, so that would not be going away. That would you approve that, you would be approving. There's no change to that without an amendment.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't a lot of the changes reflecting the state statutes as well?
Yeah, it adopts the state statute as well as the county codes.
So the reason why we chose to amend this, obviously, we've been dealing with a lot of animal bites, and currently, until this ordinance is passed, we don't have any charges for to address with vicious dogs or dangerous dogs or animal bites. We simply write a dog off leash, and that's all we can write, which doesn't really even apply to the animal bite. So this is why with 22 bites in a year and a half, that's significant. And there's a few dogs that we would consider or deem them dangerous and that have multiple bites. We don't have anything to address that.
Yeah, if you're concerned about the noise, you could make an amendment tonight. We can change that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I love the additions. Like if I could just vote on that, I'm just actually looking at what our current ordinances are, and I'm kind of like, obviously fine tuning this and looking at what we've obviously currently had in place and going, oh geez, obviously probably some of this stuff hasn't been enforced, but I'm thinking, gosh, if this actually was enforceable, how many times our police officers would be having to come out because a neighbor was like, my next door neighbor had their dog barking for more than 60 seconds. That would be.
Say 1 or more minutes on the subsection.
I don't have a complaint.
That's kind of where common sense on the officer
you would think.
would come in.
I mean, realistically, by the time you call and the time the officer gets there and then speaks to because I've had to call for neighbors in the past where the dog is barking all afternoon.
Oh, sure.
And it's generally just, hey, you might want to bring your dog inside.
I know. So that was my thing. If we were just voting on the addition, which I 100% support.
I think we're voting on the revisions to the ordinance, not
yes.
reapproving the existing.
Okay, because now I'm just looking through it, and maybe that's something I can bring up at a future That's an easy future time. Okay.
Make it 30 seconds.
Okay, then that's all, that's the only question I have.
Any further questions? Hearing none, make a motion and a second to approve item F under new business.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Trustee Howe?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Strauss?
Yes.
Trustee Stein?
Yes.
And Trustee Garrett?
Thank you. Motion does carry. There is no old business tonight. On to the mayor's report. Our condolences go out to the Jungles family. Mike Jungles was deeply committed to giving back to others, supporting many organizations. His greatest efforts was devoted to finding a cure for childhood cancer. He was an active member of the Wauconda Moose and Wauconda Masonic Order. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Jungles family, as Mike will truly be missed. I would like to welcome Joanne Krupa to our village staff as our new building inspector code compliance officer. Thank you for that, Greg. And I understand we have another assistant director starting soon.
Yes, beginning of February.
Excellent, excellent. And congratulations to all the Wauconda Chamber Award recipients. Mia Plantitas, Small Business of the Year. Yellowstone Landscaping, Large Business of the Year. Scott Weisbrook, Shining Star Award. Linda Starkey, Pinnacle Award. Kiki Laurie's Lifetime Achievement Award. The Wauconda Moose Lodge, Chamber Cares Award. And Bola Quali Meats was the Entrepreneur of the Year. And on a business note, we issued the liquor license for the Four Shadows Irish Pub. And they met with Community Development Department to go over the space revisions, I believe, last week, so they'll be starting construction soon. And I believe we issued the permit for Cafe Al Fresco, which is going in behind the empty lot behind the Village Inn. So we've got a lot of activity coming up in the village. I look forward to the annual CERT Awards ceremony this Sunday at Lindy's, and that's all I have on the trustee comments, committee reports.
No comments.
Mr. Shaw.
Condolences to Jungles family and friends. You'll be very, very much missed. I had something else, and I forgot what it was. Sorry.
Trustee Strauss.
Yes, deepest condolences to Carolyn and Jungles' mom and sisters. He's irreplaceable. Also want to remind everyone that the Ice Fishing Derby has been moved to February 20th and 21st, just to make sure that we have enough ice for that, and that is all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Stein?
No comments.
Trustee Gary?
No comment.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, make the motion a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 6:48.